Hey guys, so in this video I'm gonna be sharing my PvP build, my preferred playstyle in PvP. Uh, Tell you the reasons why I chose specific items and its synergistic advantages. So first, wait, let me check my script here. So okay, so Necro right now is really strong. They are god tier in high reso range, but take note, in high reso range they are really strong. In mid-tier and low-tier range, they have existing problems, and it's the lack of versatility. So what does this mean? Let me explain. So when you are like 2K, 3K, or 4K resonance, whenever you enter a battleground, the problems of mid-tier is that you do not know if you are going to be the highest resonance player or if you're going to be just the lowest resonance player. So I've experienced this problem a lot where if I focus on high damage build, then but if I'm the lowest resonance player in a certain match, then my contribution to damage to that match is not that high because everyone's gonna be a whale. So you obviously being a CCer will work better, and the opposite side of the spectrum, when I enter a match and I'm the highest reso, but then I have a CC build. When you are the highest reso in a certain match, then you are expected to do the highest amount of kills or highest amount of damage, so you can contribute to the team fights. But if you are focusing on a CC build, then you're not gonna be doing that much kills if you are focusing on high CC build. So that's currently the existing problem of Necros. It's hard to determine if a match is going to be CC oriented, where you are preferred to be more of a CCer because you are not the highest resonance in game, or if you're preferred to be a damage dealer if you are the highest resonance in game. So this build addresses this issue specifically. So yeah, that's the problem of the low and mid tier Necros, is that lack of versatility in a certain match. So this build, I'll tell you, is this. So as you can see, the skills is mostly Wraith form, the shield, uh, bone skulls, and corpse lance. So this is a really highly versatile build, and the reason why I say ultimate in the title is because I've been testing a lot of builds in the recent time, and well, in the last 6 months, and I've been tweaking this build, and this seems to be the best build for me, and I will explain to you why. So uh, how does this address the current Necro issue? So as you can see, if you notice here, the only reliable CC that you have is Wraith form. But the thing is with this Wraith form is this build requires you to have the awakening gear of the chest piece and the weapon. So what are these? What is this? The chest piece is generate a corpse during Wraith form, uh, which is useful for your corpse lance because you need corpses for your corpse lance. But the thing is, rate form cooldown is decreased by 10%. Another thing with this Stroke of Midnight is rate form cooldown is decreased by 10%. So essentially, you are reducing your cooldown by 20%. Now, I tried to add a more cooldown reduction. It doesn't work anymore. There seems to be a limit for cooldown reduction. So 20% cooldown reduction for your rate form is really high. Plus, I have V2s. V2s makes your rate form last 30% longer. So look at this. I am doing rate form for a really long time, and the cooldown is pretty much just 5 seconds. And you are invulnerable for a really long time, and its cooldown is only 5 seconds. Not to mention, you are fearing people with this rate form. Uh, it is this specific cooldown that makes you reliable CCer, even though this is your only CC. Uh, Another thing is that once your Stroke of Midnight triggers, reduces the cooldown of your rate form by 0.5 second each time you are hit. Uh, if you maximize that to 1.5 seconds, then essentially your cooldown, your wait form cooldown is only 3.5 seconds. So every 3.5 seconds you are you are fearing people, and you are invulnerable. And this is why this is a reliable CC build. The rest of your skills, uh, that's why even if you don't have that bone wall where you knock back people, it's okay, because rate form will do that. Another thing why I don't like the knockback bone wall is because it doesn't get affected by barons. Knockbacks are not affected by barons, only fear, stuns, and etc. So the core of this build is really the rate form and the awakening. That's why you need the awakening. And for the so this is a little bit of a moderate investment build. Yeah, so we addressed that, the rate form. This studied menace. So why am I choosing this? This is something that increases your corpse lance damage. It adds like a continuous damage. Why do I choose this instead of the one where it's another CC for the corpse lance? I've tested this a lot of times, and this seems to be more reliable because it it I've done some calculations. So it's essentially like increasing the damage of your corpse lance by 30%. This thing. So that's a huge boost to your corpse lance. And it's really useful in games where you are the highest resonance. But if you are not the highest resonance, then yeah, the other one is more useful. The stun corpse lance one. But I kind of like this one. It's much more fun to see more kills. You can try the other one. I just don't think it's that better. And I've had more wins in games where I use this one. And so and then the shield. This My third skill, the shield. The reason for the shield is it has anti-knockback properties because of the shoulder. So not only are you invulnerable most of the time, but with this shield you cannot be knocked back. So you're really slippery when it comes to battlegrounds, because you cannot be knocked back. It's hard to catch you, and you're invulnerable most of the time. At the same time, you are fearing them. That's the purpose of the shoulder. For the legs, for the rate form. So why am I choosing bone skulls instead of resurrection? I have it here. So resurrection, I've tried resurrection a lot. I admit that resurrection is really really strong for high reso necro, because they can take a lot of damage. In our games where you are mid range necro or low reso necro, burst is a huge problem. The thing with gladiator, even gladiator itself is sometimes not reliable. The other skills are reliable, but cheat death, there's a 30% of the time it's not useful, because sometimes you get locked down, and even before you get to rate form, they kill you right away. So although gladiator is the best in my opinion, the cheat death is like 30% of the time. Sometimes you cannot even use it because you get killed right away eventually. But yeah, so that's how I see resurrection. Another thing, this build has a lot of high survivability. In most games, you are not expected to die more than 3 times. If you are playing really well and you are the highest reso, you expect to die only once or twice, and sometimes not at all, because of the survivability of rate form and the shield. So adding more survivability, sacrificing a skill slot for resurrection, something that's not reliable. 30% of the time you get locked down anyway. Is something I've determined that is better. It's better to have the skill slot instead of having a resurrection. So bone skulls is one of my highest damage dealing burst. They're really bursty. So what most people do when activating bone skulls is this. So for example, this is the team fight. There's a team fight here. This historical archivist. So what they do is they do this, and then they rate form in, and then they wait for the bone skulls to trigger. But what I prefer to do really is something different. Is I rate form first, fear them, and they get stunned